And finally, we turn to the My Android Journey section this week, brought to us by Dan Mathis.
Okay, so I'm going to have to take you way back. So back in 2000, let's say 8, 9, and we'll go ahead and go with 8. I started my journey to touchscreens, which led my journey to Android. Now, at the time, we all know Apple was launching their product, the iPhone, which led to the death of Windows Mobile at that time. Alright, so with that said, and fast forward to 2000, let's say 10, and I would say early 2010, late 2009, I had what's called the Motorola Q9C, and prior Q9. My ex-girlfriend, I believe I bought that off of her, or she gave it to me, one of the two, which was the Q9, or the Motorola Q, not the Q9C. And then I switched to, what was it, Sprint, and ended up getting the Q9C. Then I saw she had its sibling, I forgot what carrier it was, but it was the touchscreen with the slider keyboard. For AT&T, it was the Tilt, and then for Sprint, I'm trying to think of its name, and it's flat out escaping me. But anyway, with that said, it had a touchscreen, it slid out, and you would need to use the Pocket PC of Mobile Speak. So, with that said, and that's actually the way that Mobile Speak taught a person how to use a touchscreen, their gestures, other than the swiping, like finding left, right, where the icons are on the screen and actually tapping them. That's actually where I got my experience from. Still use it today. So let's fast forward. Well, after keeping my iPod here and there, I turned to T-Mobile. Well, T-Mobile had started getting various Android devices. I'll admit that my wife was the one who got the Motorola Click before he did, and before I went to the Android. And we'd go, because I like phones, I was interested, to T-Mobile. And eventually, the phone that I had, I turned in and ended up going to the MyTouch 4G. Now, my journey really did start with a podcast, and that podcast is escaping me. It was JJ Medoff, Joe Steinkamp, Anna G. Those three had a podcast, and I believe it's AndroidAccessibility.net, if I'm correct. If I'm wrong, okay. And that's where my journey began. So my devices are in the following. I'm going to make this pretty quick. Again, this is like take 5 now. So it's the MyTouch 4G Slide, and these are all from HTC. Now, switching from HTC, went to the Galaxy S3. Yes, I was one of the few. And then from there, if I recall, I'm hoping I'm not leaving anything out. I switched from there. Oh, yes, I went to the Nexus 5. That was a beautiful phone. It was very, very, very light. During that time, I was offered a iPhone 3GS. Turned that one down. And from the iPhone 5, I went to Fruitvale, which is the iPhone. From the Nexus 5, I went to Fruitvale, because my Nexus 5 got its last update. And then, because it was Jelly Bean. Okay, so once my Fruitvale device slid into my wife's cup of soda, I wasn't there. And she did, well, I was there, and she left it on the bed and didn't tell me. Anyway, I went to the Nexus 5. X, if you recall. And then from there, I believe I had the G2, and then I'm getting, because I got tired of LG's extra mess on their device or bloatware. And then I went back to the Nexus 6. So yes, I have a history of just returning back to Google devices because, in the words of the former passing CEO of Apple, it just works. So with that said, going forward, I had a few Fruitville devices, Apple devices. Well, just gloss over that one. So yeah, and then because I've had like 2 phones at the same time, and then after that, I had a LG K30, and that was in 2017, 18, and then after, because in 17 I had the Galaxy S7, so the K30 after that we switched carriers. Then here we are. When we came up here to Florida, I had the iPhone SE. My spouse dropped her phone in the toilet, which is a K30, unfortunately. And eventually, that was that. So I left T-Mobile and went to Verizon. I've been with them since. And the devices I've acquired and I own is the Galaxy S20, and I have my Pixel 3, which was the first device I got with them, and my iPhone. I have multiple devices. Oh, and the iPad. And then, yeah. And then another device I acquired from my spouse is the Galaxy Tab 2, which I plan to root. So those are all my devices. I've had a journey. I really have. Do I regret my journey? In no way do I ever. Do I agree with Warren and everyone that currently is on the podcast that's out now? Speaking of Fruitville, I do. I really do. I just wish people would stop getting together and saying Android is not accessible. And what I really wish they do is stop making Android in certain instances gesture based work like an iPhone. I mean, to perform, not work, but perform like an iPhone. That workflow in the end doesn't always apply. That's all I'm going to say. But that's my journey.
Thanks very much, Dan. Any reflections on Dan's story?
Dan's a great guy. I like that guy. And thank you so much, Danny, for bringing us the Android journey story. Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. And so to close this week, Austin, where do people go to find us?
So to get in touch with us, people can visit us on our website, that is blindandroidusers.com. If you have questions regarding the podcast or comments or feedback or even the tips and tricks with TalkBack or CSR that you want to share with our listeners, you can send it to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. We would like you to come live and share with us your Android journey story. But if you cannot do that, and if you want to send in your recorded Android journey story, you can do that by sending it to myandroidjourney@blindandroidusers.com and subscribe to our fantastic mailing list that talks about CSR, Android, everything in between, TalkBack, by sending in an email to blindandroidusers plus subscribe at groups.io. And you can subscribe to our Telegram group, which is now more than 200 members strong. We talk about everything there, from Android to Windows 11 to TalkBack to CSR, everything, all technology is discussed there. So The link for that will be in the show notes, and follow us on Twitter. Join our Clubhouse. We need to get Clubhouse a little more active. We will come up with some plans. So join us on Clubhouse and definitely subscribe to us on YouTube. There's a custom link now, youtube.com/blind Android users. Till next week, see you and have a nice 4th of July holiday to all those who celebrate. Have a safe holiday, and I hope there are nothing on fire there, because fireworks, I think they can cause a lot of fire, wildfire especially. That's what we see on TV. So have a nice, safe 4th of July.
Yep, that's it, folks. See you next week.
And we'll see you next week, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
See you next week and have an amazing 4th of July. Thank you.
And that has been another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. As always, we appreciate hearing from you. You send those email messages to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. For those My Android Journey stories, we encourage you to send those to myandroidjourney@blindandroidusers.com. Until we see you in our next episode, you have a wonderful day.